3. Russian hacking and dumping operations. Beginning in March 2016, units of the Russian Federation's main intelligence directorate of the General Staff, the GRU, hacked the computers and email accounts of organizations, employees, and volunteers supporting the Clinton campaign, including the email account of campaign chairman John Podesta. Starting in April 2016, the GRU hacked into the computer networks of the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, the DCCC, and the Democratic National Committee, the DNC. The GRU targeted hundreds of email accounts used by Clinton campaign employees, advisors, and volunteers. In total, the GRU stole hundreds of thousands of documents from the compromised email accounts and networks. Footnote: as discussed in Section 5 below, our office charged 12 GRU officers for crimes arising from the hacking of these computers, principally with conspiring to commit computer intrusions in violation of Article 18 of the United States Code, Sections 1030 and 371. See Volume 1, Section 5, B, Infra, Indictment, United States versus Natiksha, District of D.C., July 13, 2018. Document 1, quote, Natiksha Indictment, end quote. End of footnote. The GRU later released stolen Clinton campaign and DNC documents through online personas, quote, DC Leaks, end quote, and, quote, Guccifer 2.0, end quote, and later through the organization WikiLeaks. The release of the documents was designed and timed to interfere with the 2016 U.S. presidential election and undermine the Clinton campaign. The Trump campaign showed interest in the WikiLeaks releases, and in the summer and fall of 2016, text blacked out marked harm to ongoing matter. WikiLeaks' first Clinton-related release, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. The Trump campaign stayed in contact, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter, about WikiLeaks' activities. The investigation was unable to resolve, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. WikiLeaks' release of the stolen Podesta emails on October 7, 2016. The same day a video from years earlier was published of Trump using graphic language about women. A. GRU hacking directed at the Clinton campaign. 1. GRU units target the Clinton campaign. 2 military units of the GRU carried out the computer intrusions into the Clinton campaign, DNC, and DCCC. Military units 26165 and 74455. Footnote: Natiksha Indictment, Paragraph 1. End of footnote. Military Unit 26165 is a GRU cyber unit dedicated to targeting military, political, governmental, and non-governmental organizations outside of Russia, including in the United States. Footnote: separate from this office's indictment of GRU officers, in October 2018, a grand jury sitting in the Western District of Pennsylvania returned an indictment charging certain members of Unit 26165 with hacking the U.S. Anti-Doping Agency, the World Anti-Doping Agency, and other international sports associations. United States versus Alexei Sergeyevich Morenets, number 18-263, Western District of Pennsylvania. End of footnote. The unit was subdivided into departments with different specialties. One department, for example, developed specialized malicious software, quote, malware, end quote, while another department conducted large-scale spearphishing campaigns. Footnote: a spearphishing email is designed to appear as though it originates from a trusted source and solicits information to enable the sender to gain access to an account or network, or causes the recipient to download malware that enables the sender to gain access to an account or network. Natiksha Indictment, Paragraph 10. End of footnote. Text blacked out. Marked investigative technique. A Bitcoin mining operation to secure Bitcoins used to purchase computer infrastructure used in hacking operations. Footnote. Bitcoin mining consists of unlocking new Bitcoins by solving computational problems. Text blacked out. Marked investigative technique. Kept its newly mined coins in an account on the Bitcoin exchange platform CEX.io. To make purchases, the GRU routed funds into other accounts through transactions designed to obscure the source of funds. Netiksha Indictment, paragraph 62. End of footnote. Military Unit 74455 is a related GRU unit with multiple departments that engaged in cyber operations. Unit 74455 assisted in the release of documents stolen by Unit 26165, the promotion of those releases, and the publication of anti-Clinton content on social media accounts operated by the GRU. Officers from Unit 74455 separately hacked computers belonging to state boards of elections, secretaries of state, and U.S. companies that supplied software and other technology related to the administration of U.S. elections. Footnote. Netiksha Indictment, paragraph 69. End of footnote. Beginning in March 2016, Unit 26165 had primary responsibility for hacking the DCCC and DNC, as well as email accounts of individuals affiliated with the Clinton campaign. Footnote. Netiksha Indictment, paragraph 9. End of footnote. Unit 26165 used text blacked out, marked investigative technique to learn about text blacked out, marked investigative technique, different Democratic websites, including Democrats.org, HillaryClinton.com, DNC.org, and DCCC.org. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. Began before the GRU had obtained any credentials or gained access to these networks, indicating that the later DCCC and DNC intrusions were not crimes of opportunity, but rather the result of targeting. Footnote. See SM-258-9105, serials 144 and 495. End of footnote. GRU officers also sent hundreds of spear-phishing emails to the work and personal email accounts of Clinton campaign employees and volunteers. Between March 10, 2016 and March 15, 2016, Unit 26165 appears to have sent approximately 90 spear-phishing emails to email accounts at HillaryClinton.com. Starting on March 15, 2016, the GRU began targeting Google email accounts used by Clinton campaign employees, along with a smaller number of DNC.org email accounts. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The GRU spear-phishing operation enabled it to gain access to numerous email accounts of Clinton campaign employees and volunteers, including campaign chairman John Podesta, junior volunteers assigned to the Clinton campaign's advance team, informal Clinton campaign advisors, and a DNC employee. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. GRU officers stole tens of thousands of emails from spear-phishing victims, including various Clinton campaign-related communications. 2. Intrusions into the DCCC and DNC networks. A. Initial access. By no later than April 12, 2016, the GRU had gained access to the DCCC computer network using the credentials stolen from a DCCC employee who had been successfully spear-phished the week before. Over the ensuing weeks, the GRU traversed the network, identifying different computers connected to the DCCC network. by stealing network access credentials along the way, including those of IT administrators with unrestricted access to the system. The GRU compromised approximately 29 different computers on the DCCC network. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. Approximately 6 days after first hacking into the DCCC network, on April 18, 2016, GRU officers gained access to the DNC network via a virtual private network, a VPN, connection. Footnote: a VPN extends a private network, allowing users to send and receive data across public networks, such as the Internet, as if the connecting computer was directly connected to the private network. The VPN in this case had been created to give a small number of DCCC employees access to certain databases housed on the DNC network. Therefore, while the DCCC employees were outside the DNC's private network, they could access parts of the DNC network from their DCCC computers. End of footnote. Between the DCCC and DNC networks. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. SM-2589105-hack, serial 5. End of footnote. Between April 18, 2016 and June 8, 2016, Unit 26165 compromised more than 30 computers on the DNC network, including the DNC mail server and shared file server. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. M-2589105-hack, serial 5. End of footnote. B. Implantation of malware on DCCC and DNC networks. Unit 26165 implanted on the DCCC and DNC networks 2 types of customized malware. Footnote: quote, malware, end quote, is short for malicious software, and here refers to software designed to allow a third party to infiltrate a computer without the consent or knowledge of the computer's user or operator. End of footnote. Known as, quote, X-agent, end quote, and, quote, X-tunnel, end quote. Mimikatz, a credential harvesting tool, and rare.execute, a tool used in these intrusions to compile and compress materials for exfiltration. X-agent was a multifunction hacking tool that allowed Unit 26165 to log keystrokes, take screenshots, and gather other data about the infected computers, for example, file directories, operating systems. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. X-tunnel was a hacking tool that created an encrypted connection between the victim DCCC/DNC computers and GRU-controlled computers outside the DCCC and DNC networks that was capable of large-scale data transfers. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. GRU officers then used X-tunnel to exfiltrate stolen data from the victim computers. To operate X-agent and X-tunnel on the DCCC and DNC networks, Unit 26165 officers set up a group of computers outside those networks to communicate with the implanted malware. Footnote: in connection with these intrusions, the GRU used computers, virtual private networks, dedicated servers operated by hosting companies, etc., that it leased from third-party providers located all over the world. The investigation identified rental agreements and payments for computers located in, inter alia, text blacked out, marked investigative technique, all of which were used in the operations targeting the U.S. election. End of footnote. The first set of GRU-controlled computers, known by the GRU as middle servers, sent and received messages to and from malware on the DNC/DCCC networks. The middle servers, in turn, relayed messages to a second set of GRU-controlled computers, labeled internally by the GRU as an, quote, AMS panel, end quote. The AMS panel, text blacked out, marked investigative technique, served as a nerve center through which GRU officers monitored and directed the malware's operations on the DNC/DCCC networks. Footnote: Netishko Indictment, paragraph 25. The AMS panel used to control X-Agent during the DCCC and DNC intrusions was housed on a leased computer located near text blacked out, marked investigative technique, Arizona. Footnote: Netishko Indictment, paragraph 24C. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. Footnote: Netishko Indictment, paragraph 24B. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. The Arizona-based AMS panel also stored thousands of files containing keylogging sessions captured through X-Agent. These sessions were captured as GRU officers monitored DCCC and DNC employees' work on infected computers regularly between April 2016 and June 2016. Data captured in these keylogging sessions included passwords, internal communications between employees, banking information, and sensitive personal information. C. Theft of documents from DNC and DCCC networks. Officers from Unit 26165 stole thousands of documents from the DCCC and DNC networks, including significant amounts of data pertaining to the 2016 U.S. federal elections. Stolen documents included internal strategy documents, fundraising data, opposition research, and emails from the work inboxes of DNC employees. Footnote: Netishko Indictment, paragraphs 27 through 29. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The GRU began stealing DCCC data shortly after it gained access to the network. On April 14, 2016, approximately 3 days after the initial intrusion, GRU officers downloaded rare.execute onto the DCCC's document server. The following day, the GRU searched one compromised DCCC computer for files containing search terms that included, quote, Hillary, end quote, DNC, end quote, Cruz, end quote, and, quote, Trump, end quote. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. On April 25, 2016, the GRU collected and compressed PDF and Microsoft documents from folders on the DCCC's shared file server that pertained to the 2016 election. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The GRU appears to have compressed and exfiltrated over 70 gigabytes of data from this file server. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The GRU also stole documents from the DNC network shortly after gaining access. On April 22, 2016, the GRU copied files from the DNC network to GRU-controlled computers. Stolen documents included the DNC's opposition research into candidate Trump. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. SM-2589105-hack, serial 5. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. Between approximately May 25, 2016 and June 1, 2016, GRU officers accessed the DNC's mail server from a GRU-controlled computer leased inside the United States. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. See SM-2589105-GJ, serial 649. As part of its investigation, The FBI later received images of DNC servers and copies of relevant traffic logs. Nitishko indictment, paragraphs 28 through 29. During these connections, Unit 26165 officers appeared to have stolen thousands of emails and attachments, which were later released by WikiLeaks in July 2016. Footnote: Nitishko indictment, paragraph 29. The last-in-time DNC email released by WikiLeaks was dated May 25, 2016, the same period of time during which the GRU gained access to the DNC's mail server. Nitishko indictment, paragraph 45. End of footnote. B. Dissemination of the hacked materials. The GRU's operations extended beyond stealing materials and included releasing documents stolen from the Clinton campaign and its supporters. The GRU carried out the anonymous release through two fictitious online personas that it created, DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0, and later through the organization WikiLeaks. 1. DC Leaks. The GRU began planning the releases at least as early as April 19, 2016, when Unit 26165 registered the domain dcleaks.com through a service that anonymized the registrant. Footnote: Nitishko indictment, paragraph 35. Approximately a week before the registration of dcleaks.com, the same actors attempted to register the website electionleaks.com using the same domain registration service. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. Unit 26165 paid for the registration using a pool of Bitcoin that it had mined. Footnote: see SM-2589105, serial 181, Nitishko indictment, paragraph 21A. End of footnote. The dcleaks.com landing page pointed to different tranches of stolen documents, arranged by victim or subject matter. Other dcleaks.com pages contained indexes of the stolen emails that were being released, bearing the sender, recipient, and date of the email. To control access and the timing of releases, pages were sometimes password protected for a period of time and later made unrestricted to the public. Starting in June 2016, the GRU posted stolen documents onto the website dcleaks.com, including documents stolen from a number of individuals associated with the Clinton campaign. These documents appeared to have originated from personal email accounts, in particular Google and Microsoft accounts, rather than the DNC and DCCC computer networks. DC Leaks victims included an advisor to the Clinton campaign, a former DNC employee and Clinton campaign employee, and 4 other campaign volunteers. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The GRU released through dcleaks.com thousands of documents, including personal identifying and financial information, internal correspondence related to the Clinton campaign and prior political jobs, and fundraising files and information. Footnote: see, for example, Internet Archive, quote, dcleaks.com URL, end quote, archive date November 10, 2016. Additionally, DC Leaks released documents relating to text blacked out, marked personal privacy, emails belonging to text blacked out, marked personal privacy, and emails from 2015 relating to Republican Party employees under the portfolio name, quote, the United States Republican Party, end quote, quote, the United States Republican Party, end quote, portfolio contained approximately 300 emails from a variety of GOP members, PACs, campaigns, state parties, and businesses dated between May and October 2015. According to open source reporting, These victims shared the same Tennessee-based web hosting company called SmartTech Corporation. William Bastone, RNC email was, in fact, hacked by Russians. The Smoking Gun, December 13, 2016. End of footnote. GRU officers operated a Facebook page under the DC Leaks moniker, which they primarily used to promote releases of materials. Footnote. Natiksha indictment, paragraph 38. End of footnote. The Facebook page was administered through a small number of pre-existing GRU-controlled Facebook accounts. Footnote. See, for example, Facebook account 100088256235541. Alice Donovan. End of footnote. GRU officers also used the DC Leaks Facebook account, the Twitter account @DCLeaks_, and the email account dcleaksproject@gmail.com to communicate privately with reporters and other U.S. persons. GRU officers using the DC Leaks persona gave certain reporters early access to archives of leaked files by sending them links and passwords to pages on the dcleaks.com website that had not yet become public. For example, on July 14, 2016, GRU officers operating under the DC Leaks persona sent a link and password for a non-public DC Leaks webpage to a U.S. reporter via the Facebook account. Footnote. July 14, 2016. Facebook message ID 793-058-100-795-341. DC Leaks to ID text blacked out, marked personal privacy. End of footnote. Similarly, on September 14, 2016, GRU officers sent reporters Twitter direct messages from @DCLeaks_ with a password to another non-public part of the dcleaks.com website. Footnote. See, for example, September 14, 2016, Twitter DM @DCLeaks_ to text blacked out, marked personal privacy. September 14, 2016, Twitter DM @DCLeaks_ to text blacked out, marked personal privacy. The messages read, quote, "Hi, URL address, enjoy, smiley face," end quote. End of footnote. The dcleaks.com website remained operational and public until March 2017. 2. Guccifer 2.0. On June 14, 2016, the DNC and its cyber response team announced the breach of the DNC network and suspected theft of DNC documents. In the statements, the cyber response team alleged that Russian state-sponsored actors, which they referred to as, quote, "Fancy Bear," end quote, were responsible for the breach. Footnote. Dmitry Alperovich, Bears in the Midst, Intrusion into the Democratic National Committee. CrowdStrike blog, June 14, 2016. CrowdStrike updated its post after the June 15, 2016 post by Guccifer 2.0, claiming responsibility for the intrusion. End of footnote. Apparently, in response to that announcement, on June 15, 2016, GRU officers using the persona Guccifer 2.0 created a WordPress blog. In the hours leading up to the launch of that WordPress blog, GRU officers logged into a Moscow-based server used and managed by Unit 74455 and searched for a number of specific words and phrases in English, including, quote, "some 100 sheets," end quote, quote, "Illuminati," end quote, and, quote, "worldwide known," end quote. Approximately 2 hours after the last of those searches, Guccifer 2.0 published its first post, attributing the DNC server hack to a lone Romanian hacker and using several of the unique English words and phrases that the GRU officers had searched for that day. Footnote: Natiksha Indictment, paragraphs 41 through 42. That same day, June 15, 2016, the GRU also used the Guccifer 2.0 WordPress blog to begin releasing to the public documents stolen from the DNC and DCCC computer networks. The Guccifer 2.0 persona ultimately released thousands of documents stolen from the DNC and DCCC in a series of blog posts between June 15, 2016 and October 18, 2016. Footnote: Releases of documents on the Guccifer 2.0 blog occurred on June 15, 2016, June 20, 2016, June 21, 2016, July 6, 2016, July 14, 2016, August 12, 2016, August 15, 2016, August 21, 2016, August 31, 2016, September 15, 2016, September 23, 2016, October 4, 2016, and October 18, 2016. End of footnote. Released documents included opposition research performed by the DNC, including a memorandum analyzing potential criticisms of candidate Trump, internal policy documents, such as recommendations on how to address politically sensitive issues, analysis of specific congressional races, and fundraising documents. Releases were organized around thematic issues, such as specific states, for example, Florida and Pennsylvania, that were perceived as competitive in the 2016 U.S. presidential election. Beginning in late June 2016, the GRU also used the Guccifer 2.0 persona to release documents directly to reporters and other interested individuals. Specifically, on June 27, 2016, Guccifer 2.0 sent an email to the news outlet The Smoking Gun, offering to provide, quote, exclusive access to some leaked emails linked to Hillary Clinton's staff, end quote. Footnote: June 27, 2016. Email: Guccifer20@aol.fr. To text blacked out, marked personal privacy. Subject, quote, leaked emails, end quote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The GRU later sent the reporter a password and link to a locked portion of the DCleaks.com website that contained an archive of emails stolen by Unit 26165 from a Clinton campaign volunteer in March 2016. Footnote: June 27, 2016. Email: Guccifer20@aol.fr. To text blacked out, marked personal privacy. Subject, quote, leaked emails, end quote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. See also June 27, 2016. Email: Guccifer20@aol.fr. To text blacked out, marked personal privacy. Subject, quote, leaked emails, end quote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique, claiming DC Leaks was a, quote, WikiLeaks sub-project, end quote. End of footnote. That the Guccifer 2.0 persona provided reporters access to a restricted portion of the DC Links website tends to indicate that both personas were operated by the same or a closely related group of people. Footnote: before sending the reporter the link and password to the closed DC Leaks website, and in an apparent effort to deflect attention from the fact that DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0 were operated by the same organization, the Guccifer 2.0 persona sent the reporter an email stating that DC Leaks was a, quote, WikiLeaks sub-project, end quote, and that Guccifer 2.0 had asked DC Leaks to release the leaked emails with, quote, closed access, end quote, to give reporters a preview of them. End of footnote. The GRU continued its release efforts through Guccifer 2.0 into August 2016. For example, on August 15, 2016, the Guccifer 2.0 persona sent a candidate for the U.S. Congress documents related to the candidate's opponent. Footnote: Natiksha Indictment, paragraph 43A. End of footnote. On August 22, 2016, the Guccifer 2.0 persona transferred approximately 2.5 gigabytes of Florida-related data stolen from the DCCC to a U.S. blogger covering Florida politics. Footnote: Natiksha Indictment, paragraph 43B. End of footnote. On August 22, 2016, the Guccifer 2.0 persona sent a U.S. reporter documents stolen from the DCCC pertaining to the Black Lives Matter movement. Footnote: Natiksha Indictment, paragraph 43C. End of footnote. The GRU was also in contact through the Guccifer 2.0 persona with text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter, a former Trump campaign member, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. In early August 2016, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Twitter's suspension of the Guccifer 2.0 Twitter account. After it was reinstated, GRU officers posing as Guccifer 2.0 wrote text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter via private message. Quote, "Thank you for writing back. Do you find anything interesting in the docs I posted?" End quote. On August 17, 2016, the GRU added, quote, "Please tell me if I can help you anyhow. It would be a great pleasure to me." End quote. On September 9, 2016, the GRU, again posing as Guccifer 2.0, referred to a stolen DCCC document posted online and asked, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Quote, "What do you think of the info on the turnout model for the Democrats' entire presidential campaign?" End quote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Responded, quote, "Pretty standard." End quote. Footnote: text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. The investigation did not identify evidence of other communications between text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter, and Guccifer 2.0. 3. Use of WikiLeaks. In order to expand its interference in the 2016 U.S. presidential election, the GRU units transferred many of the documents they stole from the DNC and the chairman of the Clinton campaign to WikiLeaks. GRU officers used both the DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0 personas to communicate with WikiLeaks through Twitter private messaging and through encrypted channels, including possibly through WikiLeaks' private communication system. A. WikiLeaks' expressed opposition toward the Clinton campaign. WikiLeaks, and particularly its founder, Julian Assange, privately expressed opposition to candidate Clinton well before the first release of stolen documents. In November 2015, Assange wrote to other members and associates of WikiLeaks that, quote, "We believe it would be much better for GOP to win. Dems plus media plus liberals would then form a bloc to rein in their worst qualities. With Hillary in charge, GOP will be pushing for her worst qualities. Dems plus media plus neoliberals will be mute. She's a bright, well-connected, sadistic sociopath." End quote. Footnote: November 19, 2015. Twitter group chat, group ID 594-242-937-858-486-276, at WikiLeaks, and others. Assange also wrote that, quote, "GOP will generate a lot opposition, including through dumb moves. Hillary will do the same thing, but co-opt the liberal opposition and the GOP opposition. Hence, Hillary has greater freedom to start wars than the GOP and has the will to do so, end quote, as previously given. End of footnote. In March 2016, WikiLeaks released a searchable archive of approximately 30,000 Clinton emails that had been obtained through FOIA or Freedom of Information Act litigation. Footnote. WikiLeaks, quote, Hillary Clinton email archive, end quote. Available at wikileaks.org URL, Clinton emails extension. End of footnote. While designing the archive, one WikiLeaks member explained the reason for building the archive to another associate. We want this repository to become, quote, the place, end quote, to search for background on Hillary's plotting at the State Department during 2009 to 2013. Firstly, because it's useful and will annoy Hillary, but secondly, because we want to be seen to be a resource/player in the U.S. election, because it may encourage people to send us even more important leaks. Footnote. March 14, 2016. Twitter DM at WikiLeaks to text blacked out, marked personal privacy. Less than 2 weeks earlier, the same account had been used to send a private message opposing the idea of Clinton, quote, in White House with her bloodlet and ambitions of empire with hawkish liberal interventionist appointees, end quote. November 19, 2015, Twitter group chat, group ID 594-242-937-858-486-276, at WikiLeaks and others. B. WikiLeaks' first contact with Guccifer 2.0 and DC Leaks. Shortly after the GRU's first release of stolen documents through DCLeaks.com in June 2016, GRU officers also used the DC Leaks persona to contact WikiLeaks about possible coordination in the future release of stolen emails. On June 14, 2016, at DCLeaks _ sent a direct message to @WikiLeaks, noting, quote, you announced your organization was preparing to publish more Hillary emails. We are ready to support you. We have some sensitive information too, in particular, her financial documents. Let's do it together. What do you think about publishing our info at the same moment? Thank you. End quote. Footnote. June 14, 2016. Twitter DM at DCLeaks _ to @WikiLeaks. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. Around the same time, WikiLeaks initiated communications with the GRU persona Guccifer 2.0 shortly after it was used to release documents stolen from the DNC. On June 22, 2016, 7 days after Guccifer 2.0's first releases of stolen DNC documents, WikiLeaks used Twitter's direct message function to contact the Guccifer 2.0 Twitter account and suggest that Guccifer 2.0, quote, send any new material stolen from the DNC here for us to review, and it will have a much higher impact than what you are doing, end quote. Footnote. Nitishka Indictment, paragraph 47A. End of footnote. On July 6, 2016, WikiLeaks again contacted Guccifer 2.0 through Twitter's private messaging function, writing, quote, if you have anything Hillary-related, we want it in the next 2 days preferable, because the DNC is approaching, and she will solidify Bernie supporters behind her after, end quote. The Guccifer 2.0 persona responded, quote, okay, I see, end quote. WikiLeaks also explained, quote, we think Trump has only a 25% chance of winning against Hillary, so conflict between Bernie and Hillary is interesting, end quote. Footnote. July 6, 2016. Twitter DMs at WikiLeaks and at Guccifer _2. End of footnote. C. The GRU's transfer of stolen materials to WikiLeaks. Both the GRU and WikiLeaks sought to hide their communications, which has limited the office's ability to collect all of the communications between them. Thus, although it is clear that the stolen DNC and Podesta documents were transferred from the GRU to WikiLeaks, text blacked out, marked investigative technique. The office was able to identify when the GRU, operating through its personas Guccifer 2.0 and DC Leaks, transferred some of the stolen documents to WikiLeaks through online archives set up by the GRU. Assange had access to the Internet from the Ecuadorian Embassy in London, England. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. On July 14, 2016, GRU officers used a Guccifer 2.0 email account to send WikiLeaks an email bearing the subject, quote, "Big Archive," end quote, and the message, quote, "A new attempt," end quote. Footnote. This was not the GRU's first attempt at transferring data to WikiLeaks. On June 29, 2016, the GRU used a Guccifer 2.0 email account to send a large encrypted file to a WikiLeaks email account. June 29, 2016. Email guccifer2@mail.com. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. The email appears to have been undelivered. End of footnote. The email contained an encrypted attachment with the name, quote, WK-DNC link1.text.gpg, end quote. Footnote. See SM 2589105-DC Leaks, Serial 28, Analysis. End of footnote. Using the Guccifer 2.0 Twitter account, GRU officers sent WikiLeaks an encrypted file and instructions on how to open it. Footnote. June 27, 2016. Twitter DM @Guccifer_2 to @WikiLeaks. End of footnote. On July 18, 2016, WikiLeaks confirmed in a direct message to the Guccifer 2.0 account that it had, quote, the 1 gigabyte or so archive, end quote, and would make a release of the stolen documents, quote, this week, end quote. Footnote. July 18, 2016. Twitter DM @Guccifer_2 and @WikiLeaks. End of footnote. On July 22, 2016, WikiLeaks released over 20,000 emails and other documents stolen from the DNC computer networks. Footnote. Quote, DNC email archive, end quote. WikiLeaks, July 22, 2016. Available at wikileaks.org URL with DNC emails extension. End of footnote. The Democratic National Convention began 3 days later. Similar communications occurred between WikiLeaks and the GRU-operated persona DC Leaks. On September 15, 2016, @DC Leaks wrote to @WikiLeaks, quote, "Hi there, I'm from DC Leaks. How could we discuss some submission-related issues? Am trying to reach out to you via your secured chat, but getting no response. I've got something that might interest you. You won't be disappointed, I promise." End quote. Footnote. September 15, 2016. Twitter DM @DCLeaks_ to @WikiLeaks. End of footnote. The WikiLeaks account responded, quote, "Hi there," end quote, without further elaboration. The @DCLeaks_ account did not respond immediately. The same day, the Twitter account @Guccifer_2 sent @DCLeaks_ a direct message, which is the first known contact between the personas. Footnote. September 15, 2016. Twitter DM @Guccifer_2 to @DCLeaks_. End of footnote. During subsequent communications, the Guccifer 2.0 persona informed DC Leaks that WikiLeaks was trying to contact DC Leaks and arrange for a way to speak through encrypted emails. Footnote: see SM 2589105-DC Leaks, Serial 28. September 15, 2016, Twitter DM @Guccifer_2 and @WikiLeaks. End of footnote. An analysis of the metadata collected from the WikiLeaks site revealed that the stolen Podesta emails show a creation date of September 19, 2016. Footnote: see SM 2284941, Serials 63 and 64. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. Based on information about Assange's computer and its possible operating system, this date may be when the GRU staged the stolen Podesta emails for transfer to WikiLeaks, as the GRU had previously done in July 2016 for the DNC emails. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. At the time, certain Apple operating systems used a setting that left a downloaded file's creation date the same as the creation date shown on the host computer. This would explain why the creation date on WikiLeaks' version of the files was still September 19, 2016. See SM 2284941, Serial 62. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The WikiLeaks site also released PDFs and other documents taken from Podesta that were attachments to emails in his account. These documents had a creation date of October 2, 2016, which appears to be the date the attachments were separately staged by WikiLeaks on its site. Footnote: when WikiLeaks saved attachments separately from the stolen emails, its computer system appears to have treated each attachment as a new file and given it a new creation date. See SM-2284941, Serials 63 and 64. End of footnote. Beginning on September 20, 2016, WikiLeaks and DC Leaks resumed communications in a brief exchange. On September 22, 2016, a DC Leaks email account, dcleaksproject@gmail.com, sent an email to a WikiLeaks account with the subject, quote, submission, end quote, and the message, quote, hi from DC Leaks, end quote. The email contained a PGP encrypted message with the file name, quote, wiki_mail.text.gpg, end quote. Footnote: see September 22, 2016 email, dcleaksproject@gmail.com. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. The email, however, bears a number of similarities to the July 14, 2016 email in which GRU officers used the Guccifer 2.0 persona to give WikiLeaks access to the archive of DNC files. On September 22, 2016, the same day of DC Leaks' email to WikiLeaks, the Twitter account @DCLeaks_ sent a single message to @WikiLeaks with the string of characters, text blacked out, marked investigative technique. The office cannot rule out that the stolen documents were transferred to WikiLeaks through intermediaries who visited during the summer of 2016. For example, public reporting identified Andrew Mueller as a WikiLeaks associate who may have assisted with the transfer of these stolen documents to WikiLeaks. Footnote: Ellen Nakashima and others. A German hacker offers a rare look inside the secretive world of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Washington Post, January 17, 2018. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. On October 7, 2016, WikiLeaks released the first email stolen from the Podesta email account. In total, WikiLeaks released 33 tranches of stolen emails between October 7, 2016 and November 7, 2016. The releases included private speeches given by Clinton. Footnote: text blacked out, marked personal privacy. End of footnote. Internal communications between Podesta and other high-ranking members of the Clinton campaign. Footnote: text blacked out, marked personal privacy. End of footnote. And correspondence related to the Clinton Foundation. Footnote: Natiksha indictment, paragraph 43. End of footnote. In total, WikiLeaks released over 50,000 documents stolen from Podesta's personal email account. The last-in-time email released from Podesta's account was dated March 21, 2016, 2 days after Podesta received a spear-phishing email sent by the GRU. D. WikiLeaks statements dissembling about the source of stolen materials. As reports attributing the DNC and DCCC hacks to the Russian government emerged, WikiLeaks and Assange made several public statements apparently designed to obscure the source of the materials that WikiLeaks was releasing. The file transfer evidence described above and other information uncovered during the investigation discredit WikiLeaks' claims about the source of material that it posted. Beginning in the summer of 2016, Assange and WikiLeaks made a number of statements about Seth Rich, a former DNC staff member who was killed in July 2016. The statements about Rich implied falsely that he had been the source of the stolen DNC emails. On August 9, 2016, the @WikiLeaks Twitter account posted, quote, "Announce. WikiLeaks has decided to issue a $20,000 reward for information leading to conviction for the murder of DNC staffer Seth Rich." End quote. Footnote: @WikiLeaks, August 9, 2016. Tweet. End of footnote. Likewise, on August 25, 2016, Assange was asked in an interview, quote, "Why are you so interested in Seth Rich's killer?" End quote, and responded, quote, "We're very interested in anything that might be a threat to alleged WikiLeaks sources." End quote. The interviewer responded to Assange's statement by commenting, quote, "I know you don't want to reveal your source, but it certainly sounds like you're suggesting a man who leaked information to WikiLeaks was then murdered." End quote. Assange replied, quote, "If there's someone who's potentially connected to our publication, and that person has been murdered in suspicious circumstances, it doesn't necessarily mean that the two are connected. But it is a very serious matter. That type of allegation is very serious, as it's taken very seriously by us." End quote. Footnote: see Assange, quote, "Murdered DNC staffer was, quote, potential," end quote, WikiLeaks source, end quote. Fox News, August 25, 2016, containing video of Assange interview by Megyn Kelly. End of footnote. After the U.S. intelligence community publicly announced its assessment that Russia was behind the hacking operation, Assange continued to deny that the Clinton materials released by WikiLeaks had come from Russian hacking. According to media reports, Assange told a U.S. congressman that the DNC hack was an, quote, "inside job," end quote, and purported to have, quote, "physical proof," end quote, that Russians did not give materials to Assange. Footnote: M. Raju and Z. Cohen, a GOP congressman's lonely quest defending Julian Assange. CNN, May 23, 2018. End of footnote. C. Additional GRU cyber operations. While releasing the stolen emails and documents through DC Leaks, Guccifer 2.0, and WikiLeaks, GRU officers continued to target and hack victims linked to the Democratic campaign and, eventually, to target entities responsible for election administration in several states. 1. Summer and fall 2016 operations targeting Democrat-linked victims. On July 27, 2016, Unit 26165 targeted email accounts connected to candidate Clinton's personal office. Text blacked out, marked personal privacy. Earlier that day, candidate Trump made public statements that included the following, quote, "Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing. I think you will probably be rewarded mightily by our press." End quote. Footnote, quote, "Donald Trump on Russian and missing Hillary Clinton emails." End quote. YouTube channel, C-SPAN. Posted July 27, 2016. Available at YouTube URL, starting at 41 seconds. End of footnote. The, quote, 30,000 emails, end quote, were apparently a reference to emails described in media accounts as having been stored on a personal server that candidate Clinton had used while serving as Secretary of State. Within approximately 5 hours of Trump's statement, GRU officers targeted, for the first time, Clinton's personal office. After candidate Trump's remarks, Unit 26165 created and sent malicious links targeting 15 email accounts at the domain text blacked out, marked personal privacy, including an email account belonging to Clinton aide, text blacked out, marked personal privacy. The investigation did not find evidence of earlier GRU attempts to compromise accounts hosted on this domain. It is unclear how the GRU was able to identify these email accounts, which were not public. Footnote, text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. Unit 26165 officers also hacked into a DNC account hosted on a cloud computing service, text blacked out, marked personal privacy. On September 20, 2016, the GRU began to generate copies of the DNC data using text blacked out, marked personal privacy, function designed to allow users to produce backups of databases, referred to, text blacked out, marked personal privacy, as, quote, snapshots, end quote. The GRU then stole those snapshots by moving them to text blacked out, marked personal privacy, account that they controlled. From there, the copies were moved to GRU-controlled computers. The GRU stole approximately 300 gigabytes of data from the DNC cloud-based account. Footnote, Natiksha Indictment, paragraph 34. See also SM-2589-105-hack, serial 29. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. 2. Intrusions targeting the administration of U.S. elections. In addition to targeting individuals involved in the Clinton campaign, GRU officers also targeted individuals and entities involved in the administration of the elections. Victims included U.S. state and local entities such as state boards of elections, or SBOEs, secretaries of state, and county governments, as well as individuals who worked for those entities. Footnote, Natiksha Indictment, paragraph 69. End of footnote. The GRU also targeted private technology firms responsible for manufacturing and administering election-related software and hardware, such as voter registration software and electronic polling stations. Footnote, Natiksha Indictment, paragraph 69. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The GRU continued to target these victims through the elections in November 2016. While the investigation identified evidence that the GRU targeted these individuals and entities, the office did not investigate further. The office did not, for instance, obtain or examine servers or other relevant items belonging to these victims. The office understands that the FBI, the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, and the states have separately investigated that activity. By at least the summer of 2016, GRU officers sought access to state and local computer networks by exploiting known software vulnerabilities on websites of state and local governmental entities. GRU officers, for example, targeted state and local databases of registered voters using a technique known as, quote, SQL injection, end quote, by which malicious code was sent to the state or local website in order to run commands, such as exfiltrating the database contents. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. In one instance, in approximately June 2016, the GRU compromised the computer network of the Illinois State Board of Elections by exploiting a vulnerability in the SBOE's website. The GRU then gained access to a database containing information on millions of registered Illinois voters. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. And extracted data related to thousands of U.S. voters before the malicious activity was identified. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. GRU officers, text blacked out, marked investigative technique, scanned state and local websites for vulnerabilities. For example, over a 2-day period in July 2016, GRU officers, text blacked out, marked investigative technique, for vulnerabilities on websites of more than 24 states. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. Similar, text blacked out, marked investigative technique, for vulnerabilities continued through the election. Unit 74455 also sent spearphishing emails to public officials involved in election administration and personnel at companies involved in voting technology. In August 2016, GRU officers targeted employees of text blacked out, marked personal privacy, a voting technology company that developed software used by numerous U.S. counties to manage voter rolls and installed malware on the company network. Similarly, in November 2016, the GRU sent spearphishing emails to over 120 email accounts used by Florida county officials responsible for administrating the 2016 U.S. election. Footnote: the Tiksha indictment, paragraph 76. Text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The spearphishing emails contained an attached Word document coded with malicious software, commonly referred to as a Trojan, that permitted the GRU to access the infected computer. Footnote: text blacked out, marked investigative technique. End of footnote. The FBI was separately responsible for this investigation. We understand the FBI believes that this operation enabled the GRU to gain access to the network of at least one Florida county government. The office did not independently verify that belief and, as explained above, did not undertake the investigative steps that would have been necessary to do so. D. Trump campaign and the dissemination of hacked materials. The Trump campaign showed interest in WikiLeaks' releases of hacked materials throughout the summer and fall of 2016. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. 1. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. A. Background. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. B. Contacts with the campaign about WikiLeaks. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. On June 12, 2016, Assange claimed in a televised interview to, quote, have emails relating to Hillary Clinton which are pending publication. End quote. Footnote: see Mahita Gajanan. Julian Assange timed DNC email release for Democratic Convention. Time: July 27, 2016. quoting the June 12, 2016 television interview. End of footnote. But provided no additional context. In debriefings with the office, former Deputy Campaign Chairman Rick Gates said that text blacked out marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. In February 2018, Gates pleaded guilty, pursuant to a plea agreement, to a superseding criminal information charging him with conspiring to defraud and commit multiple offenses. For example, tax fraud, failure to report foreign bank accounts, and acting as an unregistered agent of a foreign principal against the United States, as well as making false statements to our office. Superseding criminal information, United States versus Richard W. Gates III, District of D.C., February 23, 2018. Document 195. Quote, Gates superseding criminal information. End quote. Plea agreement, United States versus Richard W. Gates III, District of D.C., February 23, 2018. Document 205. Quote, Gates plea agreement. End quote. Gates has provided information and in-court testimony that the office has deemed to be reliable. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Gates recalled candidate Trump being generally frustrated that the Clinton emails had not been found. Footnote. Gates, October 25, 2018, 302, at 1-2. End of footnote. Paul Manafort, who would later become campaign chairman, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. As explained further in Volume 1, Section 4, A, 8, Infra, Manafort entered into a plea agreement with our office. We determined that he breached the agreement by being untruthful in proffer sessions and before the grand jury. We have generally recounted his version of events in this report only when his statements are sufficiently corroborated to be trustworthy. To identify issues on which Manafort's untruthful responses may themselves be of evidentiary value, or to provide Manafort's explanations for certain events, even when we were unable to determine whether that explanation was credible. His account appears here principally because it aligns with those of other witnesses. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. End of footnote. Michael Cohen, former executive vice president of the Trump Organization and special counsel to Donald J. Trump. Footnote. In November 2018, Cohen pleaded guilty pursuant to a plea agreement to a single-count information charging him with making false statements to Congress in violation of Section 18 of the United States Code, Section 1001A and C. He had previously pleaded guilty to several other criminal charges brought by the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York after a referral from his office. In the months leading up to his false statements guilty plea, Cohen met with our office on multiple occasions for interviews and provided information that the office has generally assessed to be reliable and that is included in this report. End of footnote. Told the office that he recalled an incident in which he was in candidate Trump's office in Trump Tower, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Cohen further told the office that after WikiLeaks' subsequent release of stolen DNC emails in July 2016, candidate Trump said to Cohen something to the effect of, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Cohen, September 18, 2018, 302, at 10. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. According to Gates, Manafort expressed excitement about the release text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Gates, October 25, 2018, 302, serial 241, at 4. End of footnote. Manafort, for his part, told the office that shortly after WikiLeaks' July 22 release, Manafort also spoke with candidate Trump, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. End of footnote. Manafort also, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter, wanted to be kept apprised of any developments with WikiLeaks, and separately told Gates to keep in touch, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter, about future WikiLeaks releases. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. End of footnote. According to Gates, by the late summer of 2016, the Trump campaign was planning a press strategy, a communications campaign, and messaging based on the possible release of Clinton emails by WikiLeaks. Footnote. Gates, April 10, 2018, 302, at 3. Gates, April 11, 2018, 302, at 1-2, SM-2180998. Gates, October 25, 2018, 302, at 2. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. While Trump and Gates were driving to LaGuardia Airport, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Shortly after the call, candidate Trump told Gates that more releases of damaging information would be coming. Footnote. Gates, October 25, 2018, 302, serial 241, at 4. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. C. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Corsi is an author who holds a doctorate in political science. Footnote. Corsi first rose to public prominence in August 2004 when he published his book, Unfit for Command. Swiftboat veterans speak out against John Kerry. In the 2008 election cycle, Corsi gained prominence for being a leading proponent of the allegation that Barack Obama was not born in the United States. Corsi told the office that Donald Trump expressed interest in his writings and that he spoke with Trump on the phone on at least 6 occasions. Corsi, September 6, 2018, 302, at 3. End of footnote. In 2016, Corsi also worked for the media outlet WorldNet Daily, or WND. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Corsi, October 31, 2018, 302, at 2. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. Corsi was first interviewed on September 6, 2018, at the special counsel's offices in Washington, D.C. He was accompanied by counsel throughout the interview. Corsi was subsequently interviewed on September 17, 2018, September 21, 2018, October 31, 2018, November 1, 2018, and November 2, 2018. Counsel was present for all interviews, and the interviews, beginning on September 21, 2018, were conducted pursuant to a proffer agreement that precluded affirmative use of his statements against him in limited circumstances. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Corsi told the office during interviews that he, quote, must have, end quote, previously discussed Assange with Malik. Footnote. Corsi, October 31, 2018, 302 at 4. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. According to Malik, Corsi asked him to put Corsi in touch with Assange, whom Corsi wished to interview. Malik recalled that Corsi also suggested that individuals in the, quote, orbit, end quote, of UK politician Nigel Farage might be able to contact Assange, and asked if Malik knew them. Malik told Corsi that he would think about the request, but made no actual attempt to connect Corsi with Assange. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. Malik denied ever communicating with Assange or WikiLeaks, stating that he did not pursue the request to contact Assange because he believed he had no connections to Assange. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Malik stated to investigators that beginning in or about August 2016, he and Corsi had multiple FaceTime discussions about WikiLeaks. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter, had made a connection to Assange, and that the hacked emails of John Podesta would be released prior to Election Day and would be helpful to the Trump campaign. In one conversation, in or around August or September 2016, Corsi told Malik that the release of the Podesta emails was coming, after which, quote, we, end quote, were going to be in the driver's seat. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked grand jury. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. D. WikiLeaks' October 7, 2016 release of stolen Podesta emails. On October 7, 2016, 4 days after the Assange press conference, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter, The Washington Post published an Access Hollywood video that captured comments by candidate Trump some years earlier, and that was expected to adversely affect the campaign. Footnote: Candidate Trump can be heard off-camera making graphic statements about women. End of footnote. Less than an hour after the video's publication, WikiLeaks released the first set of emails stolen by the GRU from the account of Clinton campaign chairman John Podesta. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Corsi said that because he had no direct means of communicating with WikiLeaks, he told members of the news site WND, who were participating on a conference call with him that day, to reach Assange immediately. Footnote: In a later November 2018 interview, Corsi stated, text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter, that he believed Malik was on the call, but then focused on other individuals who were on the call invitation, which Malik was not. Separate travel records show that at the time of the call, Malik was aboard a transatlantic flight. Corsi at one point stated that after WikiLeaks' release of stolen emails on October 7, 2016, he concluded Malik had gotten in contact with Assange. Corsi, November 1, 2018, 302, at 6. End of footnote. Corsi claimed that the pressure was enormous and recalled telling the conference call the Access Hollywood tape was coming. Footnote: During the same interview, Corsi also suggested that he may have sent out public tweets because he knew Assange was reading his tweets. Our office was unable to find evidence of any such tweets. End of footnote. Corsi stated that he was convinced that his efforts had caused WikiLeaks to release the emails when they did. Footnote: Corsi, September 21, 2018, 302, at 6 through 7. End of footnote. In a later November 2018 interview, Corsi stated that he thought that he had told people on a WND conference call about the forthcoming tape and had sent out a tweet asking whether anyone could contact Assange, but then said that maybe he had done nothing. Footnote: Corsi, November 1, 2018, 302, at 6. End of footnote. The office investigated Corsi's allegations about the events of October 7, 2016, but found little corroboration for his allegations about the day. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Text further blacked out, marked grand jury. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Further marked grand jury. Further marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. However, the phone records themselves do not indicate that the conversation was with any of the reporters who broke the Access Hollywood story, and the office has not otherwise been able to identify the substance of the conversation. Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Footnote: Text blacked out, marked harm to ongoing matter. Further, marked grand jury. Further, marked harm to ongoing matter. Further, marked grand jury. Further, marked harm to ongoing matter. End of footnote. However, the office has not identified any conference call participant or anyone who spoke to Corsi that day who says that they received non-public information about the tape from Corsi or acknowledged having contacted a member of WikiLeaks on October 7, 2016, after a conversation with Corsi. E. Donald Trump Jr. interaction with WikiLeaks. Donald Trump Jr. had direct electronic communications with WikiLeaks during the campaign period. On September 20, 2016, an individual named Jason Fishbein sent WikiLeaks the password for an unlaunched website focused on Trump's, quote, unprecedented and dangerous, end quote, ties to Russia, putintrump.org. Footnote, September 20, 2016. Twitter, DM, @Jason Fishbein, to @WikiLeaks. See JF00587, September 21, 2016. Messages. Text blacked out, marked personal privacy, @jabber.cryptoparty.is, and text blacked out, marked personal privacy, @jabber.cryptoparty.is. Fishbein, September 5, 2018, 302, @4. When interviewed by our office, Fishbein produced what he claimed to be logs from a chat room in which the participants discussed U.S. politics. One of the other participants had posted the website and password that Fishbein sent to WikiLeaks. End of footnote. WikiLeaks publicly tweeted, quotation marks, quote, let's bomb Iraq, end quote. Progress for America PAC to launch, quote, putintrump.org, end quote, at 9:30 a.m. Oops, PW is, quote, Putin Trump, end quote, putintrump.org, close quotation. Several hours later, WikiLeaks sent a Twitter direct message to Donald Trump Jr., quote, a PAC-run anti-Trump site, putintrump.org, is about to launch. The PAC is a recycled pro-Iraq war PAC. We have guessed the password. It is, quote, Putin Trump, end quote. See, quote, about, end quote, for who is behind it. Any comments? Close quotation marks. Footnote, September 20, 2016. Twitter DM @WikiLeaks to @Donald J. Trump Jr. End of footnote. Several hours later, Trump Jr. emailed a variety of senior campaign staff. Guys, I got a weird Twitter DM from WikiLeaks. See below. I tried the password and it works. And the About section they reference contains the next pick in terms of who is behind it. Not sure if this is anything, but it seems like it's really WikiLeaks asking me as I follow them, and it is a DM. Do you know the people mentioned and what the conspiracy they are looking for could be? These are just screenshots, but it's a fully built-out page claiming to be a PAC. Let me know your thoughts and if we want to look into it. Footnote, Trump.org_28_000629-33, September 21, 2016. Email, Trump Jr. to Conway and others. Subject, quote, WikiLeaks, end quote. End of footnote. Trump Jr. attached a screenshot of the, quote, about, end quote, page for the unlaunched site putintrump.org. The next day, after the website had launched publicly, Trump Jr. sent a direct message to WikiLeaks. Quote, off the record, I don't know who that is, but I'll ask around. Thanks, end quote. Footnote, September 21, 2016. Twitter DM @Donald J. Trump Jr. to @WikiLeaks. End of footnote. On October 3, 2016, WikiLeaks sent another direct message to Trump Jr. asking, quote, you guys, end quote, to help disseminate a link alleging candidate Clinton had advocated using a drone to target Julian Assange. Trump Jr. responded that he already, quote, had done so, end quote, and asked, quote, "What's behind this Wednesday leak I keep reading about?" End quote. Footnote: October 3, 2016. Twitter DMs @Donald J. Trump Jr. and @WikiLeaks. End of footnote. WikiLeaks did not respond. On October 12, 2016, WikiLeaks wrote again that it was, quote, "Great to see you and your dad talking about our publications. Strongly suggest your dad tweets this link if he mentions us. WLSearch.tk," end quote. Footnote: At the time, the link took users to a WikiLeaks archive of stolen Clinton campaign documents. End of footnote. WikiLeaks wrote that the link would help Trump in, quote, "digging through," end quote, leaked emails, and stated, quote, "We just released Podesta emails part 4," end quote. Footnote: October 12, 2016. Twitter DM @WikiLeaks to @Donald J. Trump Jr. End of footnote. 2 days later, Trump Jr. publicly tweeted the WLSearch.tk link. Footnote: @Donald J. Trump Jr. October 14, 2016. 6:34 a.m. Tweet. End of footnote. 2. Other potential campaign interest in Russian-hacked materials. Throughout 2016, the Trump campaign expressed interest in Hillary Clinton's private email server and whether approximately 30,000 emails from that server had in fact been permanently destroyed, as reported by the media. Several individuals associated with the campaign were contacted in 2016 about various efforts to obtain the missing Clinton emails and other stolen material in support of the Trump campaign. Some of these contacts were met with skepticism, and nothing came of them. Others were pursued to some degree. The investigation did not find evidence that the Trump campaign recovered any such Clinton emails or that these contacts were part of a coordinated effort between Russia and the Trump campaign. A. Henry Okniansky, also known as Henry Greenberg. In the spring of 2016, Trump campaign advisor Michael Caputo learned through a Florida-based Russian business partner that another Florida-based Russian, Henry Okniansky, who also went by the name Henry Greenberg, claimed to have information pertaining to Hillary Clinton. Caputo notified Roger Stone and brokered communication between Stone and Okniansky. Okniansky and Stone set up a May 2016 in-person meeting. Footnote: Caputo, May 2, 2018, 302 @4. Okniansky, July 13, 2018, 302 @1. End of footnote. Okniansky was accompanied to the meeting by Alexei Razin, a Ukrainian associate involved in Florida real estate. At the meeting, Razin offered to sell Stone derogatory information on Clinton that Razin claimed to have obtained while working for Clinton. Razin claimed to possess financial statements demonstrating Clinton's involvement in money laundering with Razin's companies. According to Okniansky, Stone asked if the amounts in question totaled millions of dollars, but was told it was closer to hundreds of thousands. Stone refused the offer, stating that Trump would not pay for opposition research. Footnote: Okniansky, July 13, 2018, 302 @1-2. End of footnote. Okniansky claimed to the office that Razin's motivation was financial. According to Okniansky, Razin had tried unsuccessfully to shop the Clinton information around to other interested parties, and Okniansky would receive a cut if the information was sold. Footnote: Okniansky, July 13, 2018, 302 @2. Razin is noted in public source documents as the director and/or registered agent for a number of Florida companies, none of which appears to be connected to Clinton. The office found no other evidence that Razin worked for Clinton or any Clinton-related entities. In their statements to investigators, Okniansky and Caputo had contradictory recollections about the meeting. Okniansky claimed that Caputo accompanied Stone to the meeting and provided an introduction, whereas Caputo did not tell us that he had attended and claimed that he was never told what information Okniansky offered. Caputo also stated that he was unaware Okniansky sought to be paid for the information until Stone informed him after the fact. Footnote: Caputo, May 2, 2018, 302 at 4. Okniansky, July 13, 2018, 302 at 1. End of footnote. The office did not locate Razin in the United States, although the office confirmed Razin had been issued a Florida driver's license. The office otherwise was unable to determine the content and origin of the information he purportedly offered to Stone. Finally, the investigation did not identify evidence of a connection between the outreach or the meeting and the Russian interference efforts. B. Campaign efforts to obtain deleted Clinton emails. After candidate Trump stated on July 27, 2016, that he hoped Russia would, quote, find the 30,000 emails that are missing, end quote, Trump asked individuals affiliated with his campaign to find the deleted Clinton emails. Footnote: Flynn, April 25, 2018, 302, at 5 to 6. Flynn, May 1, 2018, 302, at 1 to 3. End of footnote. Michael Flynn, who would later serve as National Security Advisor in the Trump administration, recalled that Trump made this request repeatedly, and Flynn subsequently contacted multiple people in an effort to obtain the emails. Footnote: Flynn, May 1, 2018, 302, at 1 to 3. End of footnote. Barbara Ledeen and Peter Smith were among the people contacted by Flynn. Ledeen, a longtime Senate staffer who had previously sought the Clinton emails, provided updates to Flynn about her efforts throughout the summer of 2016. Footnote: Flynn, April 25, 2018, 302 at 7. Flynn, May 4, 2018, 302 at 1 to 2. Flynn, November 29, 2017, 302 at 7 to 8. End of footnote. Smith, an investment advisor who was active in Republican politics, also attempted to locate and obtain the deleted Clinton emails. Footnote: Flynn, November 29, 2017, 302 at 7. End of footnote. Ledeen began her efforts to obtain the Clinton emails before Flynn's request, as early as December 2015. Footnote: Sabaksan, March 29, 2017, 302 at 1. End of footnote. On December 3, 2015, she emailed Smith a proposal to obtain the emails, stating, quote, "Here is the proposal I briefly mentioned to you. The person I described to you would be happy to talk with you either in person or over the phone. The person can get the emails, which, 1, were classified, and 2, were purloined by our enemies. That would demonstrate what needs to be demonstrated." End quote. Footnote: December 3, 2015. Email: Ledeen to Smith. End of footnote. Attached to the email was a 25-page proposal stating that the, quote, Clinton email server was, in all likelihood, breached long ago, end quote, and that the Chinese, Russian, and Iranian intelligence services could, quote, reassemble the server's email content, end quote. Footnote: December 3, 2015. Email: Ledeen to Smith. Attachment. End of footnote. The proposal called for a 3-phase approach. The first 2 phases consisted of open source analysis. The third phase consisted of checking with certain intelligence sources, quote, that have access through liaison work with various foreign services, end quote. to determine if any of those services had gotten to the server. The proposal noted, quote, even if a single email was recovered and the provenance of that email was a foreign service, it would be catastrophic to the Clinton campaign, end quote. Smith forwarded the email to 2 colleagues and wrote, quote, we can discuss to whom it should be referred, end quote. Footnote: December 3, 2015. Email: Smith to Subuxan and Safran. End of footnote. On December 16, 2015, Smith informed Leiden that he declined to participate in her, quote, initiative, end quote. According to one of Smith's business associates, Smith believed Leiden's initiative was not viable at that time. Footnote: Subuxan, March 29, 2018, 302, at 1. End of footnote. Just weeks after Trump's July 2016 request to find the Clinton emails, however, Smith tried to locate and obtain the emails himself. He created a company, raised tens of thousands of dollars, and recruited security experts and business associates. Smith made claims to others involved in the effort, and those from whom he sought funding, that he was in contact with hackers with, quote, ties and affiliations to Russia, end quote, who had access to the emails, and that his efforts were coordinated with the Trump campaign. Footnote: August 31, 2016. Email: Smith to Smith. End of footnote. On August 28, 2016, Smith sent an email from an encrypted account with the subject, quote, Secretary Clinton's unsecured private email server, end quote, to an undisclosed list of recipients, including campaign co-chairman Sam Clovis. The email stated that Smith was, quote, just finishing 2 days of sensitive meetings here in D.C. with involved groups to poke and probe on the above. It is clear that the Clintons' home-based, unprotected server was hacked with ease by both state-related players and private mercenaries. Parties with varying interests are circling to release ahead of the election. End quote. Footnote: August 28, 2016. Email: Smith to Smith. End of footnote. On September 2, 2016, Smith directed a business associate to establish KLS Research, LLC, in furtherance of his search for the deleted Clinton emails. Footnote: Incorporation Papers of KLS Research, LLC. July 26, 2017. Text blacked out, marked Grand Jury. Subuxan, March 29, 2018, 302, at 2. End of footnote. One of the purposes of KLS Research was to manage the funds Smith raised in support of his initiative. Footnote: Subuxan, March 29, 2018, 302, at 3. End of footnote. KLS Research received over $30,000 during the presidential campaign, although Smith represented that he raised even more money. Footnote: Financial Institution Record of Peter Smith and KLS Research, LLC. October 31, 2017. Text blacked out, marked Grand Jury. October 11, 2016. Email: Smith to, text blacked out, marked Personal Privacy. End of footnote. Smith recruited multiple people for his initiative, including security experts to search for and authenticate the emails. Footnote: Tate, August 22, 2017, 302, at 3. York, July 12, 2017, 302, at 1 to 2. York, November 22, 2017, 302, at 1. End of footnote. In early September 2016, as part of his recruitment and fundraising effort, Smith circulated a document stating that his initiative was, quote, in coordination, end quote, with the Trump campaign, quote, to the extent permitted as an independent expenditure organization, end quote. Footnote: York, July 13, 2017, 302. Attachment KLS Research LLC, quote, Clinton Email Reconnaissance Initiative, end quote. September 9, 2016. End of footnote. The document listed multiple individuals affiliated with the Trump campaign, including Flynn, Clovis, Bannon, and Kellyanne Conway. Footnote: the same recruitment document listed Jerome Corsi under, quote, independent groups/organizations/individuals, end quote, and described him as an, quote, established author and writer from the right on President Obama and Secretary Clinton, end quote. End of footnote. The investigation established that Smith communicated with at least Flynn and Clovis about his search for the deleted Clinton emails. Footnote: Flynn, November 29, 2017, 302, at 7 to 8. October 15, 2016, email, Smith to Flynn and others. August 28, 2016, email, Smith to Smith, blind carbon copy, Clovis and others. End of footnote. But the office did not identify evidence that any of the listed individuals initiated or directed Smith's efforts. In September 2016, Smith and Leiden got back in touch with each other about their respective efforts. Leiden wrote to Smith, quote, wondering if you had some more detailed reports or memos or other data you could share, because we have come a long way in our efforts since we last visited. We would need as much technical discussion as possible, so we could marry it against the new data we have found, and then could share it back to you, quote, your eyes only, end quote. Footnote: September 16, 2016, email, Leiden to Smith, end of footnote. Leiden claimed to have obtained a trove of emails from what she described as the, quote, dark web, end quote, that purported to be the deleted Clinton emails. Leiden wanted to authenticate the emails and solicited contributions to fund that effort. Eric Prince provided funding to hire a tech advisor to ascertain the authenticity of the emails. According to Prince, the tech advisor determined that the emails were not authentic. Footnote: Prince, April 4, 2018, 302, at 4 to 5. End of footnote. A backup of Smith's computer contained two files that had been downloaded from WikiLeaks and that were originally attached to emails received by John Podesta. The files on Smith's computer had creation dates of October 2, 2016, which was prior to the date of their release by WikiLeaks. Forensic examination, however, established that the creation date did not reflect when the files were downloaded to Smith's computer. It appears the creation date was when WikiLeaks staged the document for release, as discussed in Volume 1, Section 3, B, 3, C, Supra. Footnote: the forensic analysis of Smith's computer devices found that Smith used an older Apple operating system that would have preserved that October 2, 2016 creation date when it was downloaded, no matter what day it was, in fact, downloaded by Smith. See Volume 1, Section 3, B, 3, C, Supra. The office tested this theory in March 2019 by downloading the two files found on Smith's computer from WikiLeaks' site using the same Apple operating system on Smith's computer. Both files were successfully downloaded and retained the October 2, 2016 creation date. See SM-228-4941, Serial 62. End of footnote. The investigation did not otherwise identify evidence that Smith obtained the files before their release by WikiLeaks. Smith continued to send emails to an undisclosed recipient list about Clinton's deleted emails until shortly before the election. For example, On October 28, 2016, Smith wrote that there was a, quote, tug-of-war going on within WikiLeaks over its planned releases in the next few days, end quote, and that WikiLeaks, quote, has maintained that it will save its best revelations for last. Under the theory, this allows little time for response prior to the U.S. election, November 8, end quote. Footnote: October 28, 2016. Email, Smith to Smith, end of footnote. An attachment to the email claimed that WikiLeaks would release, quote, all 33,000 deleted emails, end quote, by, quote, November 1st, end quote. No emails obtained from Clinton's server were subsequently released. Smith drafted multiple emails stating or intimating that he was in contact with Russian hackers. For example, in one such email, Smith claimed that in August 2016, KLS Research had organized meetings with parties who had access to the deleted Clinton emails, including parties with, quote, ties and affiliations to Russia, end quote. Footnote: August 31, 2016. Email, Smith to Smith, end of footnote. The investigation did not identify evidence that any such meetings occurred. Associates and security experts who worked with Smith on the initiative did not believe that Smith was in contact with Russian hackers and were aware of no such connection. Footnote: Saffron, March 20, 2018, 302, at 3. Sabaksan, March 29, 2018, 302, at 6. End of footnote. The investigation did not establish that Smith was in contact with Russian hackers or that Smith, Leiden, or other individuals in touch with the Trump campaign ultimately obtained the deleted Clinton emails. In sum, the investigation established that the GRU hacked into email accounts of persons affiliated with the Clinton campaign, as well as the computers of the DNC and DCCC. The GRU then exfiltrated data related to the 2016 election from these accounts and computers and disseminated that data through fictitious online personas, DC Leaks and Guccifer 2.0, and later through WikiLeaks. The investigation also established that the Trump campaign displayed interest in the WikiLeaks releases and that text blacked out marked harm to ongoing matter. As explained in Volume 1, Section 5, B, Infra, the evidence was sufficient to support computer intrusion and other charges against GRU officers for their role in election-related hacking. Text blacked out marked harm to ongoing matter.